This is Cashing Out on VSiN, the sports betting network.
All right, let's have some fun. It's time for Cashing Out with Joe Ceraulo, taking you through your Tuesday night, May 6th, right on into your Wednesday morning. We've got playoff basketball. It's going to be tough to top what just went down in Cleveland as the Indiana Pacers are suddenly up 2-0 in the series. If you missed that wild finish, we're going to break that down and more for you here on the program. We've got some live baseball, playoff hockey. The Vegas Knights up 2-1 over Edmonton. Second period action underway, about 13 and a half minutes to go in the second period of play. Carolina, fresh off an OT winner in the nation's capital, game one against the Washington Capitals. So Hurricanes up 1-0 in that series. Game one, Knights Oilers underway here. Game one, Warriors T-Wolves underway. We've got no shortage of action to get to. No shortage of great guests either, put together by our incredible producer, Adam Bernard. How about that lineup? Our buddy Joe DeLeon going to join us here in about 30 minutes. Going to break down some win totals. We've got the easiest and most difficult schedules on paper. Those have been dropped. We're going to break them down and see what actionable spots might be out there in the NFL as we await, I believe it's next week, the official schedule release. Scott Bonder, hour two, going to break down a lot of Wednesday day baseball. Scott Spreitzer, couple of Scotts, look at that, hour three. We're going to get some playoff hoops and more Wednesday MLB picks, of course, my own best bets going to wrap up the show here. Tweeted out a couple of best bets earlier. Those went 1-1. Phillies' first five hit. Padres' money line at Yankee Stadium did not. They were up 2-0. They were up, I believe, 4-3 or 3-2. And then the Yankees put up a 10 spot in the bottom of the seventh to bury San Diego, just taking one of the best bullpens in baseball, making them look like a minor league bullpen. So those best bets went 1-1. Did get Indiana money line late in the day. Figured plus 210. Why the hell not? I'm at a rest stop in California, driving into Vegas for the show. Pull up Profit X. Boom, I see the price. I see plus 210. I'm like, hey, no Mobley, no Garland. I got to get in on this, right? No Hunter. And what a finish that was for the Indiana Pacers. Second time in 3 games that the Indiana Pacers have erased and overcome a 7-point deficit in the final minute of action. I mean, I've never seen anything like this. 119-112, almost an identical score. What were they trailing against Milwaukee? 118-111 in the final 40 or so seconds. Same deal. Force a couple of turnovers, turn them into transition buckets, and then boom, end of the game. Off a missed free throw, Pacers offensive rebound. Halliburton clears it out, crosses up, buries the dagger. Unbelievable finish in Cleveland. I mean, this was just unlike anything I've ever seen. Now, Indiana, look, as far as I see it, right, the Indiana Pacers should have won this game. To me, it's not unbelievable that they won the game. It's the fashion in which they did it. No Garland, no Hunter, no Mobley. You look at the Cleveland Cavaliers starting lineup, and oh, by the way, Sunday night we talked about it, and they did what we said. They mixed things up, and I'm not even talking about replacing Mobley. Obviously, that's a given. But putting Sam Merrill on the bench, the way that they start Wade and Strus and mix things up in that respect, it worked. Merrill had his best game in quite a long time. Strus had a great game, and Donovan Mitchell, well, he put up, 48 points in that loss? He did Donovan Mitchell-like things. But Cleveland, to their credit, I mean, they were in a position where they had this thing. Missing so many key components and so many big pieces and players, they had this thing in the bag until they didn't. The Indiana Pacers just refuse to die. This team is something special. And we saw a glimpse of what they're capable of a year ago. Don't forget, this team is fresh off a conference finals appearance last season in a year where they certainly overachieved. And don't forget how competitive they were in that conference finals, because they might have gotten swept by Boston. They were in 3 of those games. If my memory serves correct, only one of those games against the Celtics was a blowout. And Indiana surrendered some late leads, kind of the opposite of what they've done in 2 out of their last 3 contests. And that Boston series, I mean, that thing could have as easily been 2-2, as it was a Celtics sweep a year ago. So this Pacers team is capable of quite a lot. Now they're going home where they were, 30-12 this regular season? I mean, this team is so much better at home than they are on the road. The fact that, if you're Indiana, you're just praying to come out of Cleveland with a split. Coming out of there with a sweep, this team is in great position to win this series. And we'll get you live series odds. We'll get you live game odds, too, because Golden State, Minnesota, that second half is underway, folks. And we're at a commercial break there in Minnesota. The Wolves got up to laying as many as 6.5 at close. Well, they're down 20. How about the Warriors? 55-35. Steph out for the remainder of this one. He had a great first half, 13 points, coming off a first half where he was relatively quiet, that Game 7 against Houston. But 13 minutes, 13 points for Steph Curry, and that'll be all she wrote for him in Game 1. Golden State, a 20-point lead here in the third quarter to work with. How about the offensive night Draymond Green is having? My goodness, 16 points, 4 threes already? Who had Draymond drilling 4 threes on their bingo card? Please stand up if you had that one. 7 boards, 5 dimes. He's got a legitimate triple-double shot. Jimmy's got 8 points and 7 boards. Buddy Hield, your Game 7 hero, has 8 and 5. Golden State destroying Minnesota on the glass, playing great defense. They've already forced 10 turnovers. How about Ant-Man? MIA. He's got 8 boards, but 1 point for Anthony Edwards. He's 0 of 10 from the floor. The Timberwolves from deep, 0 for 16. Unreal. Rudy Gobert, who gave him a 20-20 in the clincher at the Lakers, he's got 6 points, 7 boards. Not quite his Game 5 performance from a series ago. Jules has 10, but their backcourt, Conley's got a goose egg. Ant-Man has 1. The guards unable to get anything, even with their size advantage. You're not going to beat Golden State trading 2s for 3s. 0 for 16 from beyond the arc for Minnesota. The Warriors, 12 for 26. It's 46%. It's a 36-point differential from deep, and that's why the Warriors lead this one by 20. Live odds for this game that's at commercial break right now. Actually, hockey's back from commercial. So live odds in the NBA, Golden State's only laying 8.5. Up 20. I know that this is a game of runs, and all of a sudden Minnesota hits a few threes. They can make this a single-digit game. But 8.5, I actually kind of like laying it with Golden State in this spot. The Timberwolves are stuck on 35 points with 8:45 to go in the third. That means that in the last 15 minutes and 15 seconds of action, they've scored just 15 points. A point a minute ain't going to cut it if you're Minnesota. So I'd be inclined, if I was to play this, I'd be inclined to lay the 8.5 with Golden State. Even though normally I like to come back and take the dog in these situations, I think the Warriors are trying to make a statement out there. To go from 5-point dogs all the way up to 6.5, wildly disrespectful. Even without Steph, I like what the Warriors have cooking out there on the court tonight, and Draymond Green turning in the offensive performance of his lifetime. On the ice, the Knights lead at 2-1. They're laying 220 on the money line. If you think Edmonton's got a little juice in them, you can get them plus 170. Puck line, if you like the Knights to expand, maybe an empty netter. Minus 1.5, you're getting plus $1.35. They had 3 goals in the first period. Live total sits at 6.5, juiced heavily to the over. Minus 90 cents to the over, plus $1.45 to the under. Got some action on the diamond. How about that wild 11th inning that we saw in Wrigley? I believe that game has gone final. Last I saw the Giants, it was 5-5. Cubs tied it with 2. Bottom of the 9th. And, oh, by the way, Naz Reid, first 3 of the game for Minnesota, 55-38. Warriors lead. That makes Minnesota 1 for 17 from deep. Absolute craziness at Wrigley. It was 5-5 going into the 11th. If you saw this final score, you would never guess it's an extra inning game. The Giants put up a 9 spot in the top of the 11th. They won the game 14-5. Ryan Presley, the Cubs closer, did not record an out, and he gave up how many earned? 8 earned in that inning. He gave up 9 runs, 8 earned because of the ghost runner on just 26 pitches. That's impressive. That means that he faced what? At least eight batters in 26 pitches. The Giants just jumped all over Presley. His ERA was 2.08 coming into this game. His ERA is now 7.62. Just an embarrassing showing for the guy that the Cubs got in a trade from Houston. That other guy they got in a trade from Houston. Obviously, Kyle Tucker was the big acquisition of the Cubbies offseason. But San Francisco gets home 14-5. The Mets batting currently top of the sixth. They're down 2-1. Zach Gallen against David Peterson. Second time we've had that matchup in a week. And the Athletics, that was the other bet I added. I said I added Indiana at the rest stop on my way here. I also added the Athletics money line, -115. They're tied 2-2 with Seattle in the bottom of the fourth inning. Folks, this summer, go all in right here at Circa Las Vegas with the ultimate getaway package. Just $400, all in. With that, you'll get a 2-night stay at Circa, a $100 dining credit, a $100 beverage credit, and your very own daybed at Stadium Swim, where the party never stops. All that for just $400, resort fees and taxes included. This limited time offer is valid for stays between May 26th and September 4th, so don't miss out. Lock in your all-in summer package right now at circalasvegas.com. Coming up, we'll continue the live look on Golden State, Minnesota. Can the Timberwolves pull off a little bit of a comeback here? We'll keep you locked in. It's Cashing Out with Joe Ceraulo. Don't go anywhere.
Welcome back to Cashing Out here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Cashing Out continues with me, Joe Ceraulo, taking you through your Tuesday night. The Golden State Warriors up 18, make it 20. Oh, no, the floater's no good. I jumped the gun on it. Pajemski, come on, man. Point blank floater? Gonna brick it off back iron like that? What are we doing, kid? So the Warriors up 18 and now make it 16. As, was that Ant-Man? It was. Little end one for the Ant-Man. Give him 3 points. See if he can make it 4 at the line. 58-42. Warriors lead in Minnesota. Free throw good. Make it 58-43. Golden State up 15. Currently laying 6.5 on the live line. So that 8.5 has shrunk when it was, what was it at that time? A 20-point game? Now 6.5. The number that Golden State is laying. Vegas being outshot in this one. If I'm reading that right, my goodness, 23-11. Despite their 2-1 lead, Edmonton firing. Mark Stone, by the way, seeking a hattie. He got the first 2 goals for the Knights, put him up 2-0. Corey Perry, the vet, answered with one of his own. And that's how we got to 2-1 after 1. That score is held. We're 75% of the way through the second period. Just about 4.5 minutes to go here in period number 2. David Peterson looking to go over his outs prop here. Believe it was set at 16.5, if I saw correctly. He's at 82 pitches, bottom of the 6th, so he's got 15 outs. He would need 2 more to get that home. And just walked Josh Naylor, lefty on lefty, the leadoff man. A's Mariners 2-2. Looks like the Mariners have a guy on in the top of the 5th. The A's -120 on the money line. We got a -115. So about the same value there, just off by a few cents. Blue Jays Angels, the other game going on. 2-2. Jose Urena, who was on the Mets a week ago, got the spot start for Toronto opposite Tyler Anderson, who's got pretty good numbers this year, but awful career numbers against the Jays lineup. And there's a shot to left field. Lourdes Gurriel. That was a screamer. Make it 4-1 Arizona. 2-run blast off of Peterson. The D-backs up 4-1 here in the blink of an eye to start the bottom of the 6th. Man, screaming line drive to left field. That thing got out in a hurry. That was, whew. I don't know if that was hit so hard. I don't know if that would even be gone in most ballparks, right? Arizona, we talk about that dry air out there. Balls have a little extra carry. I feel like in most parks, that thing would have gotten down quick just because of how hard it was. It had probably been a double. screamer into like first row. That was a bullet. I got to see the exit velo on that if they show that, because that was something off the bat of Gurriel. So if you had a Lourdes Gurriel home run prop, you just cashed out. As Arizona has expanded their lead, Zach Gallen all of a sudden got off to a rocky start to his season, and he is putting together a second straight masterpiece of an outing against the Mets. Let's pull up Gallen's numbers, because going into his last start at Citi Field, that ERA was north of 5. And now he has thrown 6 innings of 1-run ball, 85 pitches, so he may get to go out there to at least start the 7th. But, yeah, Gallen, last time against the Mets, 6 innings, 1 run. So far this time out, 6 innings, 1 run. That's tough to do back-to-back times out against the lineup. When they've seen you that first time, usually that second time, it's advantage hitter. But this is a guy who went into that May 1st start at Citi Field 1-4 with a 5.57 ERA. He had 1 brilliant start at the Yankees, 1 other quality start at home against Milwaukee, 6 innings, 2 earned. So how about Gallen against New York baseball teams this year, huh? 6 2/3 of shutout work against the Yankees with 13 strikeouts. 6 innings of 1-run work against the Mets with 8 strikeouts. Those were both in New York City, those 2 starts. So in New York City, the guy's got 12 2/3 innings, 21 strikeouts. Now tonight, 6 innings, I believe the number is 6 strikeouts and 1-run ball for Gallen. Yep, 6 innings, 1 run, 6 Ks. So going to have 3 starts against New York teams, 3 quality starts. I mean, my goodness. Right now, he's at 18 2/3 innings of work, 2 earned, 27 Ks. Insane. And he has stunk against everyone else, except, Milwaukee was a good start. But getting lit up a lot early going into the year. He's already got that ERA. In 2 starts against the Mets, he's got his ERA down over a full run from 5.57 to 4.47. So Zach Gallen may be finding himself. This is a guy who's been a Cy Young finalist in years past, a guy who's got tremendous stuff, who just needed to settle in. Maybe the next guy for Arizona to settle in will be Corbin Burns. It's taken him a while to find his stride. Minnesota's cut the lead to a baker's dozen. 13-point game. Just inside 4 minutes to go in the third quarter. Ant-Man getting to the rim, finding more success inside the paint than he was beyond the arc. And let's see if Golden State might have their confidence a bit shaken without Steph Curry out here. Although no Steph, no problem. Jimmy Butler says, I'll bank it in from 3. 69-53. Golden State has outscored Minnesota by 3 this third quarter in Steph's absence. Nice little answer by Jimmy to what was a 15-8 run by the Minnesota Timberwolves. Let's see what's going on here now. Nice ball movement by Golden State. I can't believe Butler banked that one in top of the key. That was a ridiculous off-balance shot. Inside 2 minutes to go on the ice, period number 2. No scoring thus far in the second. How often does it feel like we see this, though, in hockey, especially in these playoffs, right? It'll either be a scoreless first, and then you'll get 3 goals, right, in the second period, or they'll come out of the gate hot, and then the goaltenders will settle in, and they'll put up a couple of goose eggs in a second, like what's been the case here thus far. Edmonton with another shot on goal, but nothing to show. They're more than doubling Vegas shots on goal, 24-11, but just 1 buried puck for the Oilers so far. Mariners threatening the A's. They've got first and second, 1 out, top of the 5th. Each team at 2 runs. Each team total was 4.5. The game total, we were looking at a 10 flat, as that AAA ballpark in Sacramento has certainly played host to a lot of overs in the early going of the season. Hey, folks, if you're looking for the best odds all season long to bet baseball, you've got to check out our friends over at ProfitX. ProfitX is a peer-to-peer sports exchange available in over 40 states, the first of its kind in the U.S. With ProfitX, you'll be able to make your sports picks against other groups of fans rather than against the books. Exchanges guarantee you the best odds on average by 10 to 20%. And here's the best part, you can even request your own odds. So download ProfitX today, use the code VSIN, and you can earn up to $200 in profit cash over your first month. This app is the best, folks. Downloaded it 10 days ago at a sports bar in California. And when I tell you in 10 days, my portfolio, I've increased my original deposit by 55% because the odds are that much better than what you'll get anywhere else, right? I got the A's minus 115 on the app. You look around, if you shopped, the Athletics probably minus 125 in some spots for this game with the Mariners. I'll pull up vsin.com right here. Best place to go to shop around odds. Athletics, minus 122, minus 120, minus 121. We paid 15 cents for him. So nothing better in terms of betting baseball than our friends over at ProfitX. David Peterson's got his second out in the bottom of the sixth, so that makes it 17. He goes over his outs prop, but unfortunately for him, also goes over on earned runs. Assuming that came in at 2.5, it's where his number's been floating most starts this year. He has given up 4 thanks to that 2-run homer by Lourdes Gurriel Jr. to start the inning. D-backs with a guy on second, Perdomo, the shortstop. Wasn't he an all-star over Frankie Lindor a year or two ago? Talk about ass backwards, huh? I mean, I know every team's got to get represented, but Lindor for the last, 2 seasons and a month has one of the highest WARs in baseball. And I think Perdomo got an all-star crack over him. So he's on second, 2 outs, 2-2 count to one of last year's MVP finalists, Ketel Marte, hitting in the leadoff spot for Arizona. And he fouls one off. That battle will continue. Athletics got out of the top of the 5th. It'll be an F8 on your scorecard, so they head to the bottom of the 5th, halfway through, tied at 2. Jeffrey Springs opposite Emerson Hancock in that one in Sacramento. More Warriors-Wolves. We're also going to get to a little football up next. Joe DeLeon joins the show. We'll talk some strength of schedule and win total odds. It's Cashing Out with Joe Ceraulo.
Welcome back to Cashing Out here on VSIN, the Sports Betting Network.
Cashing Out continues with me, Joe Ceraulo, taking you through the late hours of your Tuesday night, this May 6th, right on in to your Wednesday morning, especially for our friends over on the East Coast. And now, taking you over to the Progressive Guest Line, we are just about a week away from the long-awaited NFL schedule release. We've got some player props, we've got win totals to bet on, we've got strength of schedule, which of course no one truly knows this early, this far out, but it's fun to talk about. So let's welcome in our friend Joe DeLeon, host of the Ruffino and Joe Show. You also catch his terrific work as an NFL draft and college football analyst over at A to Z Sports. Joe, how are you, man? Tell me your thoughts before we dive in on strength of schedule being ranked and released this early in May, this far ahead of the NFL season. What do you think about that?
I think all the strength of schedule stuff is nonsense. I think that it is. How can you truly know how strong a schedule is when we haven't seen these teams play? We don't know how good the rookies are. We don't know how good the free agent classes are. And a lot of times the metrics for determining strength of schedule is based on last season's records and who did the best. So I just, there's so many fake variables that go into it. I don't pay much mind. I don't mind looking at a team's schedule and actually trying to project win totals off of those things. But no, I don't really trust the strength of schedule metrics that come out right now in May when nobody has played or stepped on the field.
Yeah, and speaking of not knowing how good the rookies are, we've gotten some interesting news coming out of a rookie, number 3 overall pick in the draft, to our Giants, Abdul Carter, wanting LT's number 56, getting shut down, and I think rightfully so. Look, you know I love Abdul Carter. I know you love Abdul Carter. I think anyone asking for LT's number maybe the greatest football player, take positions out of it, maybe the greatest football player of all time, I think it's a bit ludicrous. And then he went on to ask for Phil Simms number 11. Also got shut down there. I mean, what do you make of a rookie, I don't care where you were drafted, of a rookie asking for a retired number?
I don't really understand this whole concept just generally of the retired numbers. And what I mean by that is, how can a player ask if it is deemed by an organization unwearable by new players and new members of the team? It doesn't make any sense. The team shouldn't create this weird, awkward situation where a player has to go and respond, or former player rather, has to go and respond to an incoming rookie, an incoming free agent, whatever it is. The only circumstance that something like this should even be allowed, Joe, is that if there is some sort of special connection and said retired number, the player who has that number decides they want to reach out to the rookie and give it to him. I think that was kind of part of the case with Warren Moon and with Cam Ward. It's really significant, the representation for Cam Ward representing that franchise and what Warren Moon did for representing that franchise and the success that he had as one of the first long-standing black quarterbacks, and Cam Ward getting to step in there. Completely different circumstance. Abdul Carter's got to chill. And I think that when you are told by Lawrence Taylor the clear message of go make your own name, go make your own number, create your own legacy, was essentially his response. I thought it was a really great, polite way of putting it. Why would you then follow up by talking to Phil Simms about this? Why would you even entertain that? I think because he struck out twice, Joe, I think that he should have to wear the worst available number. He should have to start 69? Over. He should have to go back.
That's what you're thinking? Put Abdul Carter in 69?
That's not a bad number. It's not a good defensive end number, but like I'm trying to think of something like 57. That number sucks. Like, who wants to wear 57?
That sounds like I don't know, middle linebacker? I don't know where you would put 57 on. But if we're talking Abdul Carter, we're talking numbers here. How many sacks is this guy going to have as a rookie? Because the worst thing he can do is ask for number 56 and then go out there and have like 3 sacks his rookie season and be a non-factor. So we've got the numbers up at DraftKings. 8 or more is your standard vig, your minus 110. 9 or more, you get the plus money, plus $1.50. 10 or more, 3-1. 11 or more, $5.50. 12 or more sacks. You're getting, that graphic says 12-1. It's actually come down now, 10-1 on 12 or more sacks. What number would you look to play, if any, on this board?
Now, if I'm playing it safe, I probably would hit that 9+ sack number. I know that the odds aren't great, but I'd be willing to take 11+ for the odds that are being placed. 12 ends up kind of reaching that territory of him having a historic level of a rookie season with the Giants here. But I can't think of a better circumstance for him to have stepped into it. More importantly, I don't think that there is a better spot for a top 3 defensive end in the last 10 years than what Abdul Carter is landing in. He gets to play opposite of Brian Burns. They also have Kayvon Thibodeau. They have Dexter Lawrence in the middle, and they also just drafted Darius Alexander, who is a very talented defensive tackle from Toledo. This defensive line unit is stacked. And I also, one of the things I chalk this up to, we got to also pay close attention to how the offensive coordinators act in the NFL. They're incredibly egotistical. They all believe that they have the right plan and approach. And I feel like that enough offensive coordinators this year are going to think it's a rookie. He's a rookie. Why would we need to give him double attention, double team him, slide protection in his direction when we have to deal with Brian Burns and we have to deal with Dexter Lawrence? Someone's going to have to go one-on-one with him. I think those one-on-one opportunities are going to create chances for him to not only have hit that 11 number, but have multiple multi-sack games. I really think that Abdul Carter, the talent that he brings, is one of the most gifted pass rushing prospects to come out in the last 10 years, coupled with the environment that he's in with a really good defensive coordinator. His production could be immense.
Well, only a dozen players, since sacks became an official recorded statistic, only a dozen players have ever had 12 or more sacks their rookie season. The record's 14.5. Javon Curse, 1999 Titans. 19 players have recorded 11. Von Miller, 11.5. Most recently, for the dozen or more, Micah Parsons had 13 in 2021. Joe, Defensive Rookie of the Year odds, Carter, he's clearing away the favorite. We're talking by more than $7. He's plus 275. Next men up, Travis Hunter and Jalen Walker, are 10 to 1. Is this Carter or pass for you? Is there anyone down the list that you think carries some value? What are your thoughts, Defensive Rookie of the Year?
Right now, for me, it is Abdul Carter. And I know that the odds for him aren't great, that like it makes it like a super exciting pick. But I look at all these other premier defensive players, and I see a lot of good players. I see a number of guys like Jalen Walker and Shamar Stewart that are traits. They have the tools. They have the ability to develop into premier starters for the teams that took them, but they're not fully baked yet, especially Jalen Walker, who I think it's going to be a little bit of a learning process. I think that this is going to be a feeling out period for him and James Pierce Jr., who were both of the Falcons' first-round picks. And if anything, I'd actually say that I'd rather take James Pierce Jr. in that conversation. But to get back to Abdul Carter, I don't see a player out of any of these other defensive prospects that, again, is in a better circumstance. He doesn't have to step in and be that primary pass rusher. There are a lot of other guys that went in the first round that I think the expectations are relatively high. I also think that for the Travis Hunter conversation, I don't want to touch that. I think that Travis Hunter is going to have a great rookie season. I think he's going to do really, really well. But I think that it is such an enigma. It is such a question mark. It's so uncertain what his role really is going to be. It sounds like that there is a desire to deploy him first as a receiver and then start to have him contribute as a defensive player. Does one end up being prioritized over the other? It's just generally too confusing for us to make that assertion and to place that bet now. The time to place that bet would be like midway through the season. And I know that that's way too late, but we need an understanding of what that picture looks like before we make that move on Travis Hunter. I will throw out there, I think that Mason Graham is a really underrated name to pay attention to because, again, we're talking about guys on teams that are underrated circumstances. That Browns defense is really good. Myles Garrett is the best defensive end in the NFL right now. Mason Graham can be super disruptive. He could end up having an 8+ sack season if things go according to plan because he is a super underrated pass rusher coming from the interior.
And Graham coming in just like James Pierce, who you mentioned, both 14 to 1 for Defensive Rookie of the Year. Folks, smarter bets start right here, and they last all year long with a VSiN Pro subscription. For a limited time, we're slashing the price of our annual subscription, normally $240, now just $1.99. And when you sign up today, we're throwing in an extra 2 months free. That's 14 months VSiN Pro access for less than 50 cents a day when you use the promo code PRO. Get 14 months of access to our daily best bets from hosts and guests, exclusive splits from DraftKings and Circa, 24/7 live video and full show replays on the VSiN Watch app, and all of our great betting guides. So go to VSiN.com/subscribe now. Promo code PRO, lock in your 14 months of VSiN Pro for just $1.99. VSiN.com/subscribe.
Out here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Cashing Out continues with me, Joe Ceraulo. Joe DeLeon with us on the Progressive Guest Line. You can check out the Ruffino and Joe Show on YouTube and catch his terrific work over at A to Z Sports as well. Joe, while we're talking Giants here, Abdul Carter in the big rookie season, he's expected to have plus 275, D Rookie of the Year. Next man up is 10 to 1. Next men up, I should say. Giants win total I want to get to here. It is currently 5.5 plus 110 to the over, minus 130 to the under, and it just came out per Sharp Football that the Giants have the toughest strength of schedule this season. Let's throw their opponents up there on your screen and take a look. I mean, at home, could the Giants have one win at home this year? Could that be a 1-7 home record?
It's certainly possible. And so I understand why at the current moment, why they have the hardest schedule is because they get the draw of the NFC North, they get the AFC West. I mean, like they couldn't have landed a worse
brutal
circumstance for the two divisions that they're facing. But I would also argue that there's some uncertainty with some of the teams in those divisions. Here's where my head is at with this. And this is almost kind of the first football take. The football take. Improved defense. They spent a lot of money in free agency at improving their secondary, as well as we know they drafted Abdul Carter. And I talked a little bit about how Darius Alexander is going to be a really nice piece for the defensive tackle part of their defensive line. Their defense is going to be fantastic. It's going to be a top 10 defense. It was one of the quietly best defenses over the past 2 years because of the current group. Their defense is going to win them games that they're not supposed to. It's just going to. Russell Wilson might not be the same Russell Wilson that he once was, but I would argue that his at least steadiness and competence is better than Daniel Jones and Drew Lock and Tommy DeVito, that he himself will help them win games that they're not supposed to. Happened with the Steelers last year. He had a couple huge passing games that nobody thought he could have had, and he exploded. We were talking for a good couple weeks stretch after that Bengals game saying that, wow, Russell Wilson looks great.
Right. At Cincinnati was the one I was going to point out. I mean, that was the game where Russ put up monster numbers, albeit Cincinnati's defense was atrocious. But, yeah, Russ did put up some monster numbers in that one.
Completely unexpectedly. The analytical take here, you and I as Giants fans know this. They will win games that they don't need to. They did it this year.
Yeah.
They beat the Colts when they didn't need to. Cam Ward would be a New York Giant right now as we're talking if it wasn't for that stupid, meaningless win that they had. Most importantly, Daboll and Shane are fighting for their lives. Daboll is not going out there thinking, oh, well, if we lose, it is what it is. He's going to do exactly what he did against the Colts, trying to show that he can coach this team into mustering out wins. So I think that 7 wins is plausible. They'll be out of the running of all the top quarterbacks again. They'll have a new head coach and a new general manager, and they'll be hoping that there's a quarterback there for them to take, or hopefully Jackson Dart looks decent enough. But it feels like a season that they're going to end up winning a bunch of useless games that they don't need to.
Yeah, it's just hard to wonder when this cycle is going to end of being bad, but not bad enough to actually turn the franchise around. I don't know. I look at that schedule. I don't see 7 wins, though. I would lean under 5.5, even laying the 30 cents, because I look at that schedule, and I look at 1-5 in division play. I look at maybe wins at Vegas, New England, New Orleans, maybe going 2-1 in those. I mean, to me, this, if I'm going to bet on a win total, like if I'm going to bet, say, under 5.5, that means that when I go give them a win, give them a loss, I'm not thinking they're going to win 5. For me to actually bet it, I need to go on an under. I need to go, they're winning 3 or 4. And I look at this and I go, they're winning 3 or 4. I mean, that schedule's just too. Do they beat the Chargers at home? Like, who do they beat at home?
Well, I think the Chargers are a possible unexpected game that they end up winning, but I don't think that they get completely blanked in division play. Like, I think that there is,
I think 1-5.
An argument. I think that it's plausible for them to steal 2 games in division play. Like early on in the year, for us to start talking about how we think that the Giants might have something and then they end up just completely losing gas. I know I sound nuts right now. I know that there's going to be plenty of people that are going to tell me
we're used to that.
I sound crazy, thinking that very funny. People are going to seem that like I'm nuts for implying that they could win 6 games with this difficult schedule. But the 3 games that are winnable for them are the ones that you just mentioned. The Patriots, the Raiders, the Saints are capable for them to knock off. I think that stealing 2 games in the division, and then now the more that I talk about it, I realize how hard this is going to be to accomplish. I don't know. We both know that even if we expect them to lose all these games, they're going to still find a way to win one that they're not supposed to by 2 points.
We'll see. 5.5 is lofty. I want to get to one of the teams on that home schedule, the San Francisco 49ers. Quick live update. Edmonton, the Oilers, wasted no time in the third period. 58 seconds in, they knotted up right here down the road in Vegas at 2 goals apiece. So we're at about, 16 minutes left in this one, if I'm seeing that correctly. 2-2. The Oilers have tied the Knights. Over on the hardwood, Minnesota, with 7 minutes to go, has pulled within 10 of Golden State. It's 85-75 Warriors. Ant-Man with the ball as we speak. Joe, the San Francisco 49ers, coming off a terrible season, their win total sitting at 10.5, plus 110 to the over, minus 130 to the under. They, according to Sharp Football, have the easiest schedule going in to this season. Let's pull up that schedule. What do you make of the Niners winning 11 games and potentially the division?
Well, so this is what we were talking about in the previous segment, is that when we talk about strength of schedule, it's not factoring in fully some of the changes that have happened over the offseason. So the Seahawks are a completely different team right now. The Rams improved arguably over this offseason. The Arizona Cardinals had one of the best draft classes out of any team, and they could be significantly better on defense. The Chicago Bears had one of the best off seasons this past year, and their offense could be extremely explosive. And the Atlanta Falcons as well, their defense made massive improvements. I just look at this. Carolina Panthers are also another team that unexpectedly could be a good, scrappy team with the defensive prospects that they added, and by adding a quality receiver in Ted McMillan. I bring up all this to say that their strength of schedule might look easy because of last year, but a lot of these teams improved. A lot of these teams greatly improved. I would take the under on that 10-win season. And I know that Shanahan is a great coach, that he is always going to put the 49ers in a competitive position, and he is always going to try and maximize as much as possible. I do not think that the current state of that roster, I don't think that it got vastly better with all the concerns that it showed at the end of last season. It had to part ways with one of its best weapons in Deebo Samuel. We don't know what is the deal with Brandon Ayuk. Is he satisfied with where he is? Do they think they can get the most out of him? Their offensive line has been slowly deteriorating. And most importantly, is Christian McCaffrey even physically capable of playing anywhere near close to what he did 2 years ago?
Right.
So I would take the under. If we're looking for a bet here, I'm going off of the uncertainty, and I'm taking the under.
I tend to lean with you. One thing that helps, you look at their road schedule, and there are some pretty winnable games at Cleveland, at Indy, at New Orleans, at the Giants. So that's what I always like to, when we're going win totals, look at their road schedule, right? And those are 4 games San Francisco should win. I'm not even saying that they should go 3-1 those 4. Those are 4 games they should go 4-0. Cleveland, Indy, Saints, Giants. At Houston, tough. At Tampa, I'd give them a loss there if I'm going game by game. I think that division, you can go around that division and make every team 3-3 against each other. If you're trying to go give them a win, give them a loss. So division, 3-3. Now, we give them, 4 wins? Cleveland, Indy, that puts them at 7. At home, Carolina, Tennessee, Jacksonville, Atlanta. I think they should be 10-7.
We got to talk ourselves into a lot of these.
I think they should be 10-7. I'm with you under. Joe, final minute here. They're plus 150 to win the division. Rams are 2-1. I'd rather go Rams. What are your thoughts?
I'm taking the Rams, and I think that Stafford showed that he still has a little bit left in him. I don't think that there's going to be any massive fall off with Matthew Stafford, but most importantly, I really liked their draft class. I think that there's some underrated pieces that they got this year, especially Chris Paul is a guy that I've highlighted multiple times as a sleeper in their linebacker room. I think that this team with Devontae Adams now in the mix has just reinforced the quality of play that they had on film last year with a bunch of young guys that now have more experience. So I wouldn't touch anyone but the Rams for that prediction to win the NFC West.
Defense is better. O-line is better. To me, I'm with you 100%. Joe, as always, great stuff. Make sure you follow him on Twitter at Joe DeLeon. Check out the Ruffino and Joe show, as well as his terrific work over at A to Z Sports. We're going to update you on the Warriors and the Knights up next, cashing out with Joe Ceraulo.